All right, Bay. It's day 6 of Advent of Code, and the Elves have given us some wonky device. The wonky device gives us a big ol' string of characters. The example looks like this. And the main thing we want is the start of packet marker. The start of packet marker is indicated by a sequence of characters that are all different, so 4 characters. So we're going to read in that buffer stream and create a subroutine in our wonky device. Here's just providing some examples. So first marker after character 5, blah, 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 blah. You can read all that. The question is, how many characters need to be processed before the first start of packet marker is detected? Let's hop into the code. Really, the first thing we're going to do is read in that file. So we're going to use read file sync for that. And now we're going to make this function called parse input. It's going to take in the file here. You'll see we'll call that later. And my idea with this problem is to create a for loop that just iterates through starting from index of 3, and it's going to look at the first element, so the index of I minus 3, the second element index of I minus 2, I minus 1, and so forth. So we get our 4 characters right there. And we're just going to make a function that checks if any of those, if all those are unique, and if it is, then it's true, and we return that index. So continuing on, this is just a comment that explains what I just said. We're going to define this variable is unique, and we'll call that function that we're going to make right now, and we're going to pass it first, second, third, and fourth. So we're going to make that function right up here. It gets a parameter called vals, which is an array of strings. And we're going to make a new map. This is something I'd like to do when I'm checking for like unique characters or whatever, because it's quick to do the lookup, and we can return early if we have already found one within our map. So for val in values, or of vals, I should say, if m.has val, so if that value already exists in our map, then we know we found a duplicate and this is not our start sequence, so we want to return false. Otherwise, if we get, otherwise we'll set the val to true. You could put anything here really. We just want to put it in our map, and then if we get all the way through the loop, which is these 4 characters, then we'll go ahead and return true because we know that all 4 characters are unique. So back down here, if is unique returns true, then we'll console log the index that we want, and we will return because we know we're done with this function. This loop, we don't need to keep looping through our input. And now we're finally just going to call that function parse input so that we can get our answer. So if I save, bring up my terminal, and I run this, then we get 1, 2, 3, 5. So let's double check that that's the answer that we got. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 5. Now for part 2, I think it's, yeah, we're looking for 14 distinct characters rather than 4. So I just kind of, brute forced it a little bit on this one. You could probably be a little bit fancier, but who needs fancy when you've got the right answer? So it's parse input 2 is pretty much the exact same thing as the first one that we wrote. And GitHub, so I wrote here, you could use a loop to create a map that works similar. But GitHub Copilot just made all these for me, so I didn't have to do a bunch of typing. So we've got 14 characters here, and notice our for loop is starting at index of 13, and then is unique, we're just going to pass it the array of 14 characters, and that's just reusing the way we wrote unique characters. It just takes an array of strings, and we just go through that array. So it doesn't have to be 4 values here. We can be 14, it could be 26, whatever you want it to be. And so no logic changes there for this. And the same logic as in parse, our first parse function, and we're just going to run that function. So let's bring up our terminal here and let's run it. Oops, I forgot to save. So saving, and now I'm going to run it, and we see index part 2, 3051 is our start sequence, and puzzle answer 3051. 2 more stars. We're moving on to day 7. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. You know I love it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.